we know that at the end of the day, no one woke up today saying, boy, I hope there's something else that I can sign up for and pop in my credit card. But the reason why we have thousands and thousands of clients is because our company's mission is to help our clients to be able to go from the burnout, I got to sell cycle, to automating some of this or a lot of this and having their business grow and having that flywheel start to take effect in their business. It's just our delivery mechanism happens to be the software, but ultimately what we're selling is that transformation in your business to go from where you are to where you want to be. And that's what we do.
Hello there. Today we're talking about making more sales through urgency. Super fun topic, kind of niche. It's something that we don't think when we think about funnels and putting together big things out there, sales and all of this. We don't think about the nuances, the details. But guess what? If you're struggling to get traffic, to get a lot of eyeballs into your website or your offers, stick around. We have a little tutorial on how to use those little widgets and tools to maximize your conversions. And I have in this interview, I have Jack, CEO of Deadline Funnels, actually Growth Leap. So we're going to talk about this and all that he's up to, but we're going to focus on how to convert those eyeballs, no matter how many are coming into your world, into paying clients. Okay, so stick around. And if you want to know more about making money on autopilot, I don't know who doesn't, but if you do, make sure you subscribe. I am talking to a lot of other CEOs and people that you got to know. You got to know about those tools. Okay. So make sure you get notified, subscribe to the channel. Hey, Jack, welcome to the video cast. Well, thank you so much for making time for this chat, talking all about funnels and, conversions. So welcome.
Oh, so great to be here.
Great, great. So we're going to talk shop in just a minute, but when we were scheduling this chat, you were going back and forward, you're going to visit the US, but I know you're in Australia. Is there a fun fact about how you started the company, how your life right now, anything you want to share more like in the personal realm? That's always very interesting to know.
Yeah, sure. I don't know how fun these facts are, but one of the first ones that comes to mind is I'm born on leap year, and one time I tried to get into I was like 15 or 16 at the time, and I was trying to impress a girl that I was with, and it kind of backfired on me because I tried to get in. I thought it'd be a fun prank to try to get in on the child pass because I've only had 2 or 3 birthdays. I forget the math, but the Disney people pulled me over right away because at that time I was like 6'2". And they're like, hey, by the way, you're not a child. they didn't think
Get
it was
out
that
of
funny.
this line.
Yeah. Anyone who knows, like there's a lot of interesting facts about Disney that I only know a few of them, but they basically have their own rules. Like, so I'm talking about Disney in Florida, like they're their own city, their own municipality, so they have their own cops. So you can go to like literally Disney jail. Luckily that day I didn't go to Disney jail. But
did you go to Disney jail?
No, I didn't go to Disney jail. But anyways, yeah. So the leap year thing is kind of interesting. We currently live in Australia. Obviously, I don't have the Australian accent. My daughters are starting to pick it up, but we really we build these businesses to at least a lot of people that I know that are in the online world and building up their businesses. They are doing it for a sense of passion for getting their message out into the world, but also they're doing it for the lifestyle and being able to really call their own shots. And 4-ish years ago, we had a situation with our 2 kids. One was getting bullied, and one had been in a boating accident. She's fine now, but it led to those 2 things together led to a really, really tough year. And my wife said, "Hey, what's the purpose of having this business that you could theoretically go anywhere in the world and plug into the internet and run your business if we don't ever actually use that option. If we're ever going to play that card, now's the time to play that card. And so it was just a great opportunity to be able to hit the reset button and just go to a different part of the world and just say, look, we don't have to, sometimes just a change of scenery, it was a major change of scenery. We bought a one-way ticket to Australia, and eventually ended up selling all of our stuff in the US. And so, it doesn't have to be that extreme, but I suppose that's another fun fact, is that we, pulled the eject button and just gave our kids an opportunity to, breathe and really grow into themselves, and to just have a little bit of space instead of having to deal with, basically battle through, daily conflicts and things like that. Sometimes we're in a place where we can deal with those, and our daughters just need a little bit more time to grow. And so it was great to be able to give them the opportunity to do that. And in that time span that we've been in Australia, I've gotten in a lot more surfing and even picked up kite surfing. So of my midlife crisis is not Lamborghinis, it's kite surfing gear and surfing gear, which is a lot less expensive and a lot
than
healthier
a convertible
for you. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't make as cool of a social media pic. Everyone, I kid, but the social media videos where someone's like in front of their 10 Lamborghinis.
I have to disagree. I have to disagree, because this is what you did. I imagine a few years back is actually what we see. Like most people right now that I work with, that's what they want. That's what I want. Like, I'm just waiting a little bit more for like the business to be established to do the same thing. Get my kid and go to Bali and like spend 6 months there, put in it. And it's just, I think this lifestyle sells really well right now on social media, because have you seen all the people living on a van or something like that? I think people are changing from the Lamborghinis and the McLarens and like all that stuff to, what? I just want to be free to do whatever I want, to go wherever I want, and still make a living, make an impact, grow a family. And that's so exciting. It's not a fun fact. It's like we should do a whole episode on your how you've done this transition.
Oh, well, yeah, it's been interesting. If I had more time, I would write a book on, for anyone wanting to move to Australia, like here's the 50 things that you need to know, because step one is, and I say this jokingly, so anyone in Australia, take this with a grain of salt. But I kid with my friends. I'm like, hey, we how did we decide Australia? Well, we wanted to go to a place that spoke English. We just we picked wrong, because they only kind of speak English. But no, we love being over here. But I also miss the US, and we're going back in just a few weeks, as I mentioned before we started recording. I haven't been back since COVID, and so it's going to be fun and exciting to go back and see what's going on in the US. It's funny the things that you miss. So having a big greasy American style burger. And maybe so another thing that I miss is frozen margaritas. Like I'm sure that somewhere in Australia they sell that, but I mean it's so easy to get in the US, and it's not like I want 20 of them, but just like one good one with salt on the rim. Oh, I've just been really
the
looking
things
forward to
you
that
crave, right, when you're away. And it's funny because I'm originally from Brazil, and being here for almost 16 years, those are the things that I miss the most, other than my family, obviously, like you said, is like those weird, quirky things. I'm like, I just wanted to be able to sit by the beach and like get some fried shrimp anywhere, anywhere you go, or a cold beer anywhere. It's like,
you can't do that in Boston. You can't do that in Boston.
No, you cannot drink outside in Boston. Like Boston has a lot of funny, quirky things that very different than Brazil.
Right. Yeah, I imagine.
For sure.
I imagine.
All right, let's reel it in. Let's bring it to business, because I guess at this point everybody's like, show me your ways, because we all want to move to Australia and, make our businesses work kind of on autopilot. And I know you have not only a book on you in how to do it in you, but also some more actionable tips for people with your company. So tell us a little bit about Growth Leap, right? And I know like you're mostly known, or your business mostly known for deadline funnels, but talk about Growth Leap, what it does and how it helps, us, the customers.
Yeah. So the mission, so Growth Leap is the name for the entity that really is where my team, executes on our mission, I think I want to start with our mission. So our mission as a team is to help entrepreneurs to be able to increase their sales, increase their conversions, and also to do it with a little bit more or a lot more automation and systems, so that you don't burn out. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can increase your sales that 6 months later, after doing that week after week after week, you're going to feel like, okay, yeah, the money's in the bank account, but I also feel like I'm about to drop dead. And so, is there a way for you to find that sweet spot where your sales are increasing, but you're also, let's not pretend that it's going to be like push button millions, but at the same time, you can employ systems and marketing automation to do things intelligently. Take what works, which might require a little bit of effort on the front end. Like you might do a live launch, you might do a live webinar, or a couple of those. But once you find out a message that really resonates with your audience, how can you get that message out into the world in a way where you don't have to be the one always, behind the microphone, spreading that message? Is there a way for you to automate some of that or a lot of that so that you can work on other things in your business? Because I think you can relate to this. The further along you get in business, like it starts with, really heavy on the sales and marketing. I need to get my message out. I need to figure out what my message is, who my audience is. It's all about marketing and messaging. The further along that you get in business, it's not that marketing and messaging suddenly doesn't become important, but there's a whole lot of other things that really come into play. You need to bring people onto your team. You need to build out infrastructure. You need to build systems. And sometimes these are not the sexy things in business. I suppose it depends on really how you're wired. I think some people do find the systems and the back office stuff really exciting. But for a lot of people, that's sort of the stuff that you wish you didn't have to do, but really, if you're going to make it to the next level, you really have to be able to focus there. So as business owners, we're sort of like the person who goes around like spinning plates, like, okay, I've got this one going. Okay, I think I have time to go and get this one spinning. And then you start to hire other people to spin those plates for you. So Growth Leap is the umbrella entity that contains Deadline Funnel. I don't know if your audience knows about Deadline Funnel, but Deadline Funnel helps increase your sales through marketing automation using real, true, not BS deadlines, so that as people go through your launches, your webinars, your email sequences, your upsells, everything, no matter what marketing stack you're using, you can give people a decision date, AKA a deadline for your offer. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, but we have thousands upon thousands of clients who use Deadline Funnel to grow their sales and to automate that whole marketing process. Then we're coming out with other tools that help in a lot of different ways. So we've got ConvertHub, which is sort of like social proof, but it does a whole lot more. So the live social proof that you see in the bottom left or bottom right-hand corner, it does that plus a whole lot of other things. So that's ConvertHub. And then we also are coming out with a software called Voma, which is going to be state-of-the-art checkout page software that is going to help you increase your conversions and do things like manage your subscriptions in a way like nothing has ever done before. So Voma is going to help you increase your conversions at that point of purchase by having lightning fast checkout page load times, as well as a whole bunch of features on the page that are going to help you make sure that every single person out of all the people that reach your checkout page, that you're losing fewer and fewer of those, because as you know, when someone reaches your checkout page, like that's the final mile to be able to bring them across the line. You've gotten them this far, but there's a lot of people that will fall out of the process and, not purchase, and you want to bring them over that last final mile to become a client. And so that's what Voma aims to do. So we have a lot of stuff going on, but it's if you wrapped it all up inside of Growth Leap, really the mission is about helping the entrepreneur and the entrepreneur's company to be able to grow sales and to use marketing automation.
Yeah, no, that's where I am right now. Like, so I feel like I graduated a little bit from, deadline funnels into the ConvertHub, like how do I move a little bit more of those pieces to increase conversions a little bit more. And Voma, I am in the on your beta like group, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
we're
seeing
just
a
starting
little
to,
bit, but haven't really implemented. But I know, one thing that has been a recurrent, conversation in our world, right? In my world, at least, is that it's not as easy as it was in the past, obviously, or cheap to get leads, to get people to see your website, to get people to see your sales page, right? And so that's where I am investing more time of my team's time to develop those conversions and to increase conversions even further. And I think that's why, the beauty of where you are positioned right now with the entire suite is to increase conversions. I think is going to be very central to the digital entrepreneur, in 2022 and beyond, when we see more restrictions and more issues to get quantity, right? So you got to make sure that everybody that lands have a proper funnel and is able to experience to the fullest what you created, or at least to make a decision, right? Like make a decision. It may not be for you, right, but we just don't want you to bounce out of the page. But what is the one tool, if you could only pick one of the deadline funnel setup or the ConvertHub, like one of those things that you believe that every digital business should be trying right now, right? Or should implement or testing their funnels in the next 6 months? I hope it's not like picking your favorite child, but it's not as difficult. But
yeah. So as I mentioned, we have a lot to choose from in what we offer clients. But I would say deadline funnel, because one of the things that it also does. So it's deadline funnel is one of those things that's such a joy to talk about. But it, I usually focus on what the name really talks about, which is the deadlines and the urgencies and how it really does an amazing job of giving a unique, personalized, not BS deadline to each person who's going through your funnels or your sequences. But it does a lot more. So you can add social proof, as I mentioned, as part of that. You can also, one of the other things that is really powerful that people don't realize until they get into it is that although we're not ever going to replace something like Google Analytics, sometimes Google Analytics, or a lot of times, people find Google Analytics really overwhelming. Like it tells you, it's like, hey, here's a million data points and it's just a fire hose of information thrown at you. And you're like, whoa, I don't know exactly what I need to know or where to find it. And it's just overwhelming, right? So Deadline Funnel does a really powerful job of tracking what your sales are for a specific campaign or for a specific funnel. So that's a really, really powerful feature that a lot of people don't realize at first. So yes, Deadline Funnel will increase your conversions, but when you want to know, look, just tell me, how many sales am I getting for everyone who's going through this funnel over the past week or past month? You can log into the Deadline Funnel dashboard and you can see very simply, we're not going to fire hose a bunch of information at you because that's not what we're trying to do. We're just showing you, here's how much money you're making in this campaign, and you can compare it. We don't show you how much you're spending if you're like, we're not logged in connected to Facebook, but you could then go over to Facebook and say, okay, well, I spent 500 and I made $650. Great, it's working. So, and you can make business decisions off of that. So for those reasons, I think that there's a lot that people can get out of deadline funnel. In terms of how to use it, my best advice would be, a lot of people get stuck, trying to implement something that is really, really complicated. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, a 29-step process where this tag sends them here, et cetera, can work really, really well. But I would recommend building your way towards that. So doing it something as easy as after the opt-in, instead of just saying, hey, thanks, go check your email. What if you made a low price offer on that page and you had a 12-minute deadline funnel timer there, which didn't reset. It was a real legitimate timer. They only had 12 minutes to make that decision. That could dramatically increase your conversion rates, and recapture some of the costs that went into getting people to that opt-in. It would also give you some early indications on a new funnel, how well that's doing. You don't have to wait weeks and months before you realize, okay, is that working or is it not? With that early offer, that could be a very quick indication of whether that's working. Just one more idea that would be super easy is that if you already are selling something, is adding an upsell to that. And by the way, you can do that inside of Voma. So we make it very easy for you to add an upsell to your offer, but you could put a deadline funnel on that page, because you're going to increase the number of people who say yes to that upsell offer. And so, number one, have an upsell. Number two, if you have an upsell, then have a deadline for someone to make that decision. And that's my best advice on the tools that we offer. And then once you get into our world and you see how much we care about our clients and the customer support that we provide, then you can branch out into some of the other things that we offer.
Fantastic. No, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I think it's so powerful. And I don't scratch the surface with it. So I know there's room for improvement. Now, what's one thing that you wish people would ask you about, funnels or the tools in the company, but they don't?
Oh boy. What do I wish people would ask me? I don't know. I think, in terms of what I think would be of most benefit to people, I think what people don't ask enough is like, what is a big misconception? And I think that there's, I think one of the things that I've heard a lot of marketers say, a lot of very marketing focused entrepreneurs say, is it's very sexy to think like, I'm just one sales page away, or I'm just one funnel away from, being a multi-bazillionaire. Certainly marketing and messaging is absolutely critical, but there are certain problems, like the further along you get into business, and this comes back to what I was mentioning before, the further along you get into business, there are some problems that you either can't, or it's almost impossible to sell your way out of. So for example, many years ago, I was, the story I'm about to tell, the person that it's about wouldn't mind me sharing this. He's shared this publicly, but I worked on Perry Marshall's team. Perry Marshall is a business thought leader. He's got some really amazing books on Amazon. Check out the 80-20 sales and marketing book. So I was working on Perry's team many years ago. And one of the things that because he's such a wonderful and charitable and warm guy, he had this habit of hiring people who needed a job. He would meet someone at church who he liked, and they needed a job, and he would say, you know what, I'm going to hire you, and we're going to figure out where you fit into the company. So you start to add employee after employee after employee, and you've got a lot of overhead. And then that puts you in a position of, okay, now the mentality is I have to sell a whole lot more to be able to cover this higher cost. And so you start making decisions based on that, and you're rushing and speeding through things rather than having the opportunity to slow down, to be able to have the room to be able to do some more thoughtful planning, to really gauge what your audience is really interested in, and to lay the groundwork for a successful launch or for a successful evergreen funnel. And so I think it's really important, once you have that funnel, so because marketing and messaging at the very beginning, if you're at the beginning of your journey, focus on the marketing, focus on the messaging, get your email sequences dialed in. That's where you should focus. But as soon as you can, and this is really comes back to what we try to deliver to entrepreneurs, you want to make sure that you are maximizing conversions and you give yourself enough runway so that you have the opportunity to have a longer planning time horizon so that you can take a look at, okay, are you planning for just tomorrow, next week, next month, or are you able to plan out 6 months, 12 months? Do you have that runway to be able to do that? And one of the reasons why using our suite of tools and the resources that we provide can give you that longer time frame is because when you've got some marketing automation and some evergreen funnels bringing in sales all the time, you're not hopping from sales event to sales event, like launch to launch to launch. There's nothing wrong with launches, but you want to be able to extend your time horizon and give yourself that breathing room to be able to make really smart planning decisions, strategy decisions, instead of just thinking about, okay, like what I need to sell, and so don't put yourself in a position where because you've made some, you've hired too much, or you've, purchased too many, tools or what have you, or you're just running from launch to launch to launch. You don't want to find yourself in a position where your time horizon, your planning horizon is so short that you're never looking out 6 to 12 months and you just burn out.
Well, I wish I had you telling me this a few months back, because it's a great point. I think it's another episode entirely to the, managing finances and managing like investment in businesses. But you're right, like a tool, or, you're never going to hit big if you're not doing those consistent like trial and errors and like going for the bigger things. Like big things take time to develop, much longer than the little things, right? Like to get a quick win, that's one thing. To get $1 million worth of a funnel or an idea, it takes a lot more effort and a lot more testing and runway. I assume money and resources, right? Like not burning out,
So there's a concept we probably don't have time to go into, but it's this. I didn't come up with this, but it's called the flywheel concept. And so if you imagine on a child's playground, that big metal, I don't even know if they allow these things anymore, but back when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, they had these large metal flywheels that with the bars on it, and all the kids would push behind it, but it was so heavy compared to like the little kids that are pushing it, that it took a lot of effort and a lot of work, everyone moving in the same direction to start to get it to move. And it would slowly creak and move an inch, and then 6 inches, and then you start to get the thing moving. And so you apply more pressure, and the faster it goes, the easier it is to push. And you get it to a certain speed where suddenly it becomes dangerous because this big heavy thing is moving on its own momentum. And so you want your business to get to the point where, yes, it still requires, like if you just go away for several years, like eventually it'll come back to just standing still. So there's nothing like the 4-hour work week isn't really truly like
how it works.
There's let's let go of this fantasy that we can just sit on the beach and like just money's just going to keep pouring in. You have to still continue to put in a little bit of work, but you can still employ this flywheel concept where the amount of pushing that it requires is much, much less. But in order to get there, takes a lot of concerted effort, where initially it feels like I'm barely moving this thing at all. Now, if your time horizon is super short, you're going to give up. Like, oh, I put in this effort and it only moved a few inches. What's the point? Like, I need money to come in right now. And so having that longer time horizon gives you the ability to focus on something that is going to take time. For example, content marketing, it takes time for you to build up. It's not like you put out one YouTube video and all of a sudden the world comes rushing to your door. Typically it takes a while to build up a YouTube channel, or it takes a while to build up a blog. It takes a while to build up, an army of affiliates who want to spread the word about your business. It starts with 1, and then you get 2, and then you get 4, and so it takes a while for you to build this up. But once you have them, once you have that YouTube channel, or once you have that successful podcast, once you have that resource that you've taken the time to build up, then it is that flywheel that can really keep your business going. And so that just takes a longer time horizon. So what's my point? My point is that don't put yourself into a position where your mentality is, okay, I have to sell my way out of this problem. Be able to stand back and take a look at your business, say, okay, is it really a sales problem, or is it a systems problem? Did I hire too much? Is it an accounting issue? Is it a cash flow issue? Some of these problems fundamentally, you don't want to show up at the building site. Forgive me for using all these metaphors, but you don't want to show up at the building site and all you have in the toolbox is a hammer, right? A hammer is really useful for some jobs, and sometimes it's the only tool that will get the job done. But if all you have is a hammer, you're not going to build a very beautiful house, right? And so you need to be able to look at the situation and say, what is the right tool for this job? And I think a lot of marketers fall into the trap because, what got them from 0 to 6 figures was all about marketing and messaging. Okay, marketing and messaging will continue to be important, but at some point you need to bring in either other people or get other skills so that you can go from 6 figures to 7, or 6 figures, like low 6 figures to mid 6 figures. You're going to reach like marketing and messaging will only get you so far. You're going to have to, develop other skills and bring other tools to bear on your business, or else you're never going to reach your full potential.
Jack, I think you have a new company over there teaching people business fundamentals and like growing a solid business, if you ever entertain the idea. But anything else you would like to share, and where can we find out more about Deadline Funnels, Growth Leap? Where can we find out more about you?
Yeah, you can just Google Growth Leap, or go to our website. You could also go to deadlinefunnel.com. That's another place that you can go. And so from there, you can find all of the tools and resources. We have a 14-day free trial for Deadline Funnel. My team is amazing. So if you ever feel frustrated by the customer support that you get from some software companies, we really try to go above and beyond and really make sure that we answer questions on time and have lots of documentations, because we know that at the end of the day, no one woke up today saying, boy, I hope there's something else that I can sign up for and pop in my credit card. But the reason why we have thousands and thousands of clients is because our company's mission is to help our clients to be able to go from the burnout, I got to sell cycle, to automating some of this or a lot of this and having their business grow and having that flywheel start to take effect in their business. It's just our delivery mechanism happens to be the software, but ultimately what we're selling is that transformation in your business to go from where you are to where you want to be, and that's what we do.
Perfect. I'll have the link down below if people want to take advantage of your free trial and get to know the tool a little bit more. And if for anybody out there, like if you're ready to make more money on autopilot, reduce the burnout, and also, or if you want to move to Australia with a great business to back you up, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of more information, and I hope to be talking to Jack very soon about other things. I think you have a lot to share, and thank you so very much for coming here and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you for the invite. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.